With that, I now recognize the ranking member, Mr. Neguse, for his opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to my colleagues and to the witnesses who are here today. Thank you all for being here and look forward to your testimony. We appreciate you sharing your time, your expertise, and your stories with the subcommittee. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize one of our witnesses here today, Ms. Kenny, who testified before this subcommittee. Hard to believe, this was 6 years ago. Back in 2019, I served on the committee at the time, and I believe you were in high school at that time. And now returning here as a recent college graduate. So congratulations on your accomplishment, and having now testified in front of the United States Congress twice is certainly a very notable achievement. Ms. Kenny's history with the World War II Women's Memorial started back when she was in the 5th grade, and so very inspiring to see someone so committed to an issue from such a young age and continuing that work. The World War II Women's Memorial Act, introduced by Representative Dingell and Representative Fulcher, is an important piece of legislation to authorize the placement of a memorial in the National Mall to honor the over 18 million women who served on the home front during World War II, as the chairman articulated. Last Congress, I was proud to sponsor and pass legislation of similar nature authorizing the Women's Suffrage National Monument to be placed on the National Mall. And through that process, really learned just how underrepresented women's history is on the National Mall and across our memorials. And so I'm very grateful for your efforts here, and I certainly look forward to bringing my young daughter Natalie to the National Mall one day to show her both this monument and the Women's Suffrage Monument as well, and to honor the women who have proudly shaped our country. It's important, I agree with the chairman, about celebrating our shared American heritage at our national parks and honoring stories that call for historical reflection. I would be remiss if I just didn't take a moment here to also acknowledge, I'll acknowledge two elephants in the room, but the first is what's happening at our national parks with respect to the signage. I think, as the chairman is aware, just by way of example, I first introduced the Amachi National Historic Site Act in April 2021 to enact protections for that site with Representative Ken Buck, one of our dear colleagues, a Republican member and a friend of mine from Colorado. That memorial honors a site where thousands of Japanese Americans were incarcerated during World War II. Unfortunately, the Trump administration has now begun installing signage in all of our national parks, including the Amachi site, asking visitors to report what they deem as, quote, negative views or information about America or American history. I find it a bit disconnected for this committee to consider new legislation, which I support, to create new memorials that honor American history while the Trump administration is engaged in some sort of odd, obtuse censorship at these same memorials that the Congress is attempting to create. And I hope that we can find an opportunity to address that issue as well. I know we're going to hear testimony on legislation to designate America's National Churchill Museum in Missouri as a National Historic Landmark. Certainly something I support. The museum is, of course, located at Westminster College, where Churchill delivered his Iron Curtain speech in 1946. And as we hear testimony in this bill, very important to remember how that speech reflected on the dangers of impeachment and the importance of standing up for democratic values. And so I'm certainly looking forward to that. H.R. 2306, the Adams Memorial Great American Heroes Act, again, legislation that I support. I think one of the tragedies here in our nation's capital is that of all of our founding fathers, that the President Adams and his son, John Quincy Adams, and of course the Adams family more broadly, are not recognized properly here in our nation's capital. My understanding is this has been a long time coming. It's been almost 20 years, and I'm hopeful that we can really make some durable progress. And finally, I certainly support the STARS Act, Ms. Malloy's legislation to provide free entry to national parks next year on Constitution Day in celebration of the 250th anniversary of the United States, encouraging Americans to get outside, enjoying our public lands. Certainly a great way to celebrate our nation. But again, and this is not with reference to Ms. Malloy, because I think, again, her legislation is legislation I support. But that second elephant in the room that I was alluding to is that the Appropriations Committee is meeting right now, not that far from here. They're doing markups over fiscal year 2026's budget, and that includes the National Park Service, which is being gutted, totally gutted. Thousands of employees terminated, laid off, hard reductions in force, mass attrition, and it is unclear to me. I mean, I'm all for providing more opportunities for American citizens to enjoy our national parks. I'm not sure how they're going to do that if there's no one there staffing them. And so I hope we could have a conversation, broader conversation, that links those two important components to our national parks. And with that, I will yield back and look forward to the discussion.